Picture this, a peaceful Sunday morning, the kind where the world seems to slow down. The birds are chirping, the sun is shining, and you're enjoying a moment of tranquility before the week begins. But then your phone buzzes, a jarring interruption to the calm. It's a breaking news alert, and you already know who's making headlines. Trump's at it again, out of nowhere, seemingly from left field. He revives his favorite move, a strategy he knows well and isn't afraid to use. He's picking a trade fight with Canada, reigniting tensions that many thought were long resolved. It's like your ex demanding their hoodie back years later, a relic from a past relationship that you'd hoped was buried. It leaves you wondering, didn't we settle this? I thought this was over. There's no detailed policy paper backing this up. Instead, it's just a bold rally promise, delivered with characteristic flair and confidence. The message is simple: get tough on Canada and fix what he calls a terrible trade situation, one that he believes is unfair to the United States. He paints America as the underdog, a nation supposedly taken advantage of by its northern neighbor. And Canada, in this narrative, becomes the unlikely villain, a role it certainly didn't ask for. This isn't just a random outburst or an off-the-cuff remark. It's a calculated signal, a deliberate move on the political chessboard. It suggests that if Trump returns to power, trade wars are back, ready for a sequel, whether we like it or not. Specifically, he wants to renegotiate the USMCA, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. This is the very deal he once celebrated as a landmark achievement, a testament to his negotiating prowess. For Canada, it's déjà vu all over again, a feeling of having been through this before and not in a good way. It's time to dust off the old trade dispute playbook, to revisit strategies and tactics that were employed in previous battles. Tariffs, in Trump's view, are the key to leveling the playing field, making American products more competitive on the global stage. He believes they will incentivize companies to bring jobs back home to the United States, boosting the American economy. It's a punchy message, easy to understand and designed to resonate with voters who feel left behind. But the reality of international trade is far more complex and nuanced, much messier than a simple slogan suggests. And Canada's about to get its hands dirty, again, bracing itself for another round of trade negotiations and potential disruptions. To understand this mess, this tangled web of tariffs, threats, and trade wars, we need to take a step back. We need to understand the history, the motivations, and the potential consequences of these actions. It's a complex situation, filled with political maneuvering and economic implications that affect businesses and consumers alike. Let's rewind. Let's go back to the beginning and trace the steps that led us to this point. We need to understand the context, the promises made, and the deals broken. Trump made tearing up old trade deals a campaign promise, a cornerstone of his economic platform. He argued that these deals were unfair to American workers and businesses, and that they needed to be renegotiated or scrapped altogether, forcing a renegotiation of NAFTA. He set his sights on the North American Free Trade Agreement, a deal that had been in place for decades, linking the economies of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. In 2018, tensions escalated. He slapped tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, citing national security concerns as justification for these measures, calling it national security, a move that surprised many and strained relations with a key ally. Canada hit back with tariffs on U.S. goods, a retaliatory measure designed to inflict economic pain and force the U.S. to reconsider its position. Whiskey, lawnmowers, everyday items became pawns in this trade dispute, you name it. A wide range of American products were targeted, impacting businesses and consumers across the country. In 2020, the USMCA replaced NAFTA. A new agreement was forged, intended to modernize trade relations between the three countries. Trump called it the best trade deal ever, a triumphant declaration signaling a victory for his administration and American workers. Fast forward to the present day. With the 2025 election looming, the issue of trade has once again taken center stage. Trump claims the USMCA isn't good enough. Despite his previous praise, he now argues that the deal falls short of its promises. He targets Canadian dairy and lumber, key sectors of the Canadian economy, accusing Canada of unfair practices. Allegations of protectionism and trade manipulation are once again being leveled. At a rally, he demands new tariff talks, a call for further negotiations and potential trade restrictions. No details, just threats. Vague pronouncements and veiled warnings create an atmosphere of uncertainty. This isn't a new fight, it's a recurring theme in the complex relationship between these two nations. It's round two of an old grudge, a continuation of past disputes and unresolved issues. Businesses on both sides now face uncertainty, unsure of what the future holds and how to plan accordingly. Planning and investment freeze. Projects are put on hold and expansion plans are shelved. Trade policy as political football becomes a dangerous game, creates chaos for the very people it's supposed to help, the workers, the families, and the communities that rely on stable trade relationships. The foundation of North American trade is suddenly shaky, threatening the stability of the entire region, and everyone's bracing for impact, hoping to weather the storm and emerge on the other side. Why pick a fight with Canada? It's part economics, part politics, part showmanship. Trump obsesses over trade deficits. He sees them as America losing. He points to Canadian dairy and lumber as unfair advantages. Canada's supply management system protects its farmers. Trump wants it gone. The message plays well in key states, especially with farmers, but it's also about firing up his base. America first, strongman politics. Details don't matter, the story does. Tariffs are his opening move, a negotiating tactic, not always the end goal. He threatens big, hoping Canada will blink first. It's high risk, high reward, Trump's signature style. But Canada's been here before, and this time, they're not so quick to swerve. The standoff is set. Canada's response? Calm, firm, and very Canadian. Trudeau's team. We have a deal. We're sticking to it. By referencing the USMCA, Trump's own deal, they frame his demands as self-contradictory. It's political judo. Are you sure you want to undo your own work? Canada won't be bullied, but they're not aggressive either. They remind the US. Tariffs mean retaliation, quietly but clearly. If you punch, we punch back. Maybe at your favorite whiskey. Behind the scenes, Canada rallies US business leaders and politicians who hate tariffs. The US Chamber of Commerce is on their side. Canada's strategy is stand firm, remind everyone of the costs, and build a coalition. It's chess, not checkers. So far, Canada's playing it smart. The ball's in Trump's court. What's a tariff? Simple. It's a tax on imported goods. If the US puts a 25% tariff on Canadian cars, that's 25% added to the price. The goal: make American products look cheaper, protect US jobs. But here's the catch. Tariffs are a double-edged sword. Companies pass the extra cost to you, the consumer. American companies facing less competition might raise prices too, so you pay more, no matter what. Tariffs ripple through the economy: steel, lumber, even your can of Coke gets pricier. It's a hidden tax in your shopping cart. When politicians talk tariffs, remember, you're the one footing the bill. It's not just about factories, it's about your wallet. Tariffs sound tough, but they hit home hardest. That's why you should care. At its core, the trade relationship between the United States and Canada, while one of the largest in the world, is often fraught with tension. This ongoing negotiation and occasional friction is fundamentally about two countries with often clashing priorities and differing perspectives on what constitutes a fair and equitable trade environment. Each nation is driven by its own unique set of economic and social imperatives. The US wants to fix trade imbalances that they perceive as detrimental to their economy, aiming to reduce the trade deficit and bring more manufacturing back home. They also seek to protect jobs for American workers, particularly in key sectors like manufacturing and agriculture, ensuring that domestic industries remain competitive in the global market. A key goal for the US is to break into Canada's protected markets, particularly those shielded by supply management systems and other trade barriers that limit foreign competition. American farmers, especially those in the dairy sector, see Canada's dairy market as a goldmine, a potentially lucrative market with high demand for their products. The challenge, however, is that they can't easily get in due to Canada's supply management system, which restricts imports and protects domestic producers. The US lumber industry claims Canada sells wood too cheaply, arguing that these low prices are a result of unfair subsidies provided by the Canadian government. For America, the core issue is about fairness and leveling the playing field, ensuring that trade practices are transparent and equitable for all parties involved. To achieve this perceived fairness, the US is willing to impose tariffs and other trade restrictions, even if it means potential economic repercussions. Canada, being a smaller economy compared to the US, operates from a different set of priorities and constraints. Canada prioritizes stability in its trade relationships and seeks reliable, predictable access to the vast US market, which is crucial for its economic prosperity. Over 75% of Canadian exports are destined for the United States, highlighting the critical importance of this trade relationship. Therefore, any disruption to this trade flow poses a significant economic risk to Canada, potentially leading to market volatility and business uncertainty. Canada fiercely protects its dairy system, known as supply management, viewing it as essential for the stability of its agricultural sector. For Canada, this system is about more than just money. It's deeply intertwined with its cultural identity, ensuring food security and supporting rural communities. The US sees Canada's trade policies as a wall, hindering access to its markets and creating unfair advantages for Canadian businesses. Canada, on the other hand, views these policies as a protective shield, safeguarding its industries and ensuring its economic sovereignty. That's the heart of the conflict, a fundamental difference in how each country perceives the role of trade and the best way to protect its own interests. Ultimately, it boils down to offensive versus defensive strategies, with each nation employing tactics designed to maximize its own economic gains, often at the expense of the other. So, what does this mean for you? Tariffs make Canadian goods more expensive. Lumber, cars, groceries, building a house? That wood probably came from Canada, now it costs more. Cars and auto parts cross the border multiple times. Tariffs add up at every step. You pay more whether you notice or not. Canada will retaliate, targeting politically sensitive US products. Think Florida oranges, Kentucky bourbon. American farmers and businesses lose access to a huge market. Jobs are at risk. Prices rise on both sides. A trade war isn't just headlines, it's higher bills and lost jobs. Everyone loses and the pain is real. It's an economic cell phone, played out for all to see, and it lands right in your shopping cart. So, what's next? 3 scenarios. 1, it's all political theater. Trump talks tough but backs down if elected. 2, he means it. Tariffs go up, negotiations get ugly, and a trade war erupts. 3, a middle ground. Targeted tariffs force Canada to make small concessions, avoiding all-out war. The outcome depends on elections, the economy, and leaders' choices. For now, everyone's waiting. Canada stands firm. US businesses get nervous. The only certainty, this friendship is about to be tested again. So grab your popcorn. The next episode is coming, and the stakes are higher than ever.